Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We've got a fantastic chat tonight. We've got a massive game coming up at the weekend, a quarter final against Championship Coventry City, and for a chance for a semi-final at Wembley. And I'm delighted to be joined by Dean from Sky Blues Extra to talk all things Coventry, all things FA Cup, and to delve into what he thinks and give us the Coventry fans insight. Welcome to the channel, mate.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Before we get stuck into the FA Cup, we should talk about like the recent history of Coventry City, because like as a Wolves fan, we suffered. We went all the way down to League One, got ourselves back, but you went all the way down to League One, lost your ground, and was playing out of town in places like Northampton. It must have been a hell of a time. And now you've got your stadium back, playing back at the stadium over in Coventry as well now, and flying high in the Championship. A great win at the weekend away at Watford as well, just outside the playoffs.
Yeah, you mentioned going to League One. We actually went to League Two.
All the way down to League
we went
Two?
all the way down. Yeah, which is funny because the year we actually got relegated to League Two, we won the EFL trophy, the Checker Trade Trophy, or the Johnson's Paint, or whatever you want to call it now. But yeah, so that it was weird because Mark Robbins came in as manager for basically 2 weeks before the final of that, which we won. We knew we were going down. And then since then, the story over the past 7 years under Mark Robbins' helm, he actually celebrated 7 years on Saturday. The story's been remarkable. I mean, it's ready-made for Hollywood as a script, shall we say. But yeah, got back into League One at the first time of trying, then won League One and back in the Championship, sort of cemented our place. And then obviously last year, losing out in the playoff final. But the trajectory has just been unbelievable, really, as a Coventry fan. We've been through the absolute mire. Like you say, we lost our ground, ownership issues under our previous owners, a hedge fund called Sisu. We then got taken over in the middle of last season by local businessman Doug King, and yeah, it's just been an upward trajectory since then. It's really exciting times to be a Coventry fan, and none more so, obviously, reaching the quarterfinals of the FA Cup as well, the greatest competition in the world.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, when you're fans of like clubs like ours, you do suffer. And when you have success, it means even more.
It does make it makes the bad times feel like nothing, really, when you get the good times, when you reach the sort of the peaks, and yeah, you kind of forget about it, but you shouldn't forget where you've come from, because it makes the good times that much sweeter.
It does. So just let us know about your journey in the FA Cup, who've you played and what your results are for anyone that doesn't know to get to this point.
Yeah, so third round was versus Oxford, which we won very, very comfortably at home, 6-2.
Wow.
We then played Sheffield Wednesday, which was really weird because we played Sheffield Wednesday in December, then we played them in January twice in the league and the FA Cup, and then we had a replay versus Sheffield Wednesday. So we played them 4 times in the space of about
like
7 weeks.
Brentford. We played Brentford 4 times in like 6 weeks as well.
So we kind of sussed them out, and there's now some little weird rivalry with Sheffield Wednesday, which is quite funny.
What was the score against Sheffield Wednesday in the first game in the replay? Was it the first game at their place?
It was at their place, if I remember rightly. Yeah, it was a 1-1 draw, and then the replay was at home. Yeah, it was a 4-1 victory at home in the replay. Very, very comfortable. Yeah, the 1-1 draw in the first, I'll say the first leg, but the first match of that was very, very tepid. It was an awful day. The pitch was awful. You could tell both teams didn't really want to play it. It was kind of a weird situation. But yeah, comfortably through the next round in the replay, and then obviously Maidstone a couple of weeks ago, which was a brilliant story, isn't it? Maidstone get into the fifth round.
5-0 in the end against Maidstone.
5-0.
I mean, they did knock Blackburn out in the game round before as well.
So yeah, it's one of those games where you just don't know what's going to happen, right, against a non-league opposition. But we were so professional that night. It was a brilliant, comprehensive victory, and then obviously getting this draw with Wolves, which I feel really, when looking at the teams that were in the draw, the Wolves or Brighton game was probably the one we eyed up the most. Obviously better at home, but if it had to be away, then I would say it's probably the nicest draw for us to get.
Well, it is, and it's a Midland derby as well, against two clubs. It's the Coventry City fans are no doubt very excited. Of course, you had that famous victory in the FA Cup a few years ago now, and you've got through to this. I mean, you nice draw at home against Maidstone, but you still got to put them away and do the job. You'd be massive favourites for that. You wouldn't have taken them for granted, and you've got through. And then when the draw came out and you got Wolves at Molineux, what was your initial reaction?
Just that it was the perfect draw. If we can't be at home, let's be away at somewhere where we might possibly cause an upset. It's not likely to happen at United or Man City or Chelsea or Liverpool. Who else is available? And that's nothing against Wolves or Brighton, because obviously we didn't know at the time who'd won that fixture between yourselves. But it was comfortably really the draw we wanted. Leicester was still in, obviously, and they're our big rivals.
Yeah,
I'd rather not play them at this stage, to be honest, because it's okay. We beat them a few weeks ago, early in January.
Leicester are kind of running away with it, and they're being clawed back.
Yeah, it's brilliant to see.
If they drop into the playoffs, goodness me, it's happened to us
the championship. The championship's just it's wild at the moment at the top of the league. I mean, those 4 teams at the top are just doing something that we've never seen in this division before, and the rest are picking up the scraps basically. But like you say, Leicester have come back into the pack a little bit there, and it's a very, very exciting. If you think the top of the Premier League's exciting this year, I can guarantee you the top of the Championship.
Oh no, I've been keeping an eye on it, mate. I've been keeping a proper eye at it, because I do, look at the other leagues and stuff like that to see what's going on. And I remember Leicester being something like 12 points clear at one point, and now like they're I think they're 3 points clear.
It's 23 now to Leeds, yeah.
And I know, which is crazy. But Coventry are doing well in the league. You got Wolves in the cup. You're away. The tickets go on sale. No problem at all. 4,800 Coventry, 15%. The tickets have been snapped up in no time at all. I'll take it you've got yours.
I'm not actually in the country, unfortunately.
You're not?
No, I'm flying to Singapore on Friday.
Oh, man.
It's an absolute nightmare.
Why? Are you on holiday or something?
No, I've got to go and work out there,
How
unfortunately.
long for?
I'll be out there for 10 days in Singapore. Yeah.
Well, you'll no doubt find somewhere to watch it. At least you're not traveling on the Saturday.
Well, you say that. We arrive, it's British time. It's 10 o'clock in the morning when we arrive. So I've only got 2 hours basically to get out of the airport and find a bar to watch it.
Oh, my life.
So it's when I saw the early kickoff, I was like, I'd much prefer the early kickoff on the Sunday, because at least I'll have the whole day to sort of prepare for it in the evening time. But yeah, it's going to be a mad rush to watch it now.
I take it the rest of your pals are going though.
Yeah, everybody from all the Sky Blues Extra team are going to be there. All my family are going as well. So yeah, it's going to be a brilliant occasion. The atmosphere is going to be electric. We travel in numbers. To most games, we sell out pretty much every away following we go to. So we'll bring the noise, and hopefully we'll back the team to victory. It's going to be an exciting game, and let the best team win on the day.
Well, absolutely. So let's just tell us in terms of how Coventry play. Obviously, Mark Robbins is probably a legend now at Coventry, and much loved for what he's done and where he's got you. He's kind of like the man, isn't he, for you? He's dragged you from League Two to a playoff final, to the edge of the playoffs again this year, and obviously to an FA Cup quarter final against Wolves. But how do Coventry tend to line up? What's your kind of formation?
So it actually varies, because we start the last 3 or 4 years we've played with a sort of a 3, then a diamond system. This year we started with that, but we had an influx of new players, 13, 14 new players into the team. We started that way. It didn't really work, hence why we were, struggling really at the start of the season. Then we switched to a back 4, and then we went on a mad run, a very, very simple 4-3-3 with 2 wingers. And then we've just had an influx of injuries again, and he's reverted back to playing a
So
back,
you've got
back
injuries
five.
as well.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it was. It's not as bad as your injury list, let me tell you. But yeah, probably our key player that's missing is Tatsuhiro Sakamoto, Japanese
Is that the
winger.
Japanese guy?
Yeah, and he has been absolutely electric over the past 2 months, and unfortunately suffered a really, really bad injury a couple of weeks ago versus Preston. He's out for the season now, unlikely to make the start of next season. It's very sort of up in the air how his situation is. It's been kept on the down low really from the club, so it's really intriguing to see what actually is the issue there. But he's out, so that's a major blow. But we do have match winners in our team. We've got probably our best player just come back from injury as well, Ben Sheaf, back into the team on Saturday at half time. So yeah, things are.
What position does he play?
So he plays centre midfield.
Yeah, he's gonna have a busy day.
He will do. The whole team's gonna have a busy day. Let's be honest. I know you've got your injuries, but the reality is a Premier League team, a Premier League squad should really be beating any old Championship team. But you know, some of the key injuries in your ranks gives us a little bit more hope.
We've got 4 out of our front 5 injured. I mean, you know, I bet you. I mean, I know you don't wish an injury on everyone, but when you were probably heard that Pedro Neto had gone down with a hamstring, you were probably like, "Well, that's good for us.
Well,
We've already got Wang out."
Yeah, I was very confused why he brought him back into the team so quickly.
Well, he came off against Newcastle as a precaution. Apparently, they did all the scans and he trained and he was fine. And then obviously he pulled up. I mean, we were all a bit worried about that before the thing. And then when he pulled up, we're like rolling right because Wang's out with a hamstring, Kuna's out with a hamstring, Neto's gone out now with a hamstring, and also Bellegarde went out as well with something with his knee.
Yeah, I like the look of that Bellegarde. He looks a real talent.
Yeah, he is. And then that only leaves Pablo Sarabia out of our real 5. And then you've got Nathan Fraser, who's 19, coming out the academy. And so, like, we've got such pace. I mean, when we played West Brom at West Brom in the, which is obviously a big derby for us, and you know they started on the front foot, but we just killed them, you know, with the pace and the skill and the quality that we had up front, and that's the slight concern for me going into this game is, you know, we are missing such firepower up front, and it doesn't matter what team you are when you're missing 4 out of your 5 forwards.
Yeah,
it's tough.
And our Achilles heel is the dealing with pace and trickery. That's like anything aerial we can deal with very comfortably, but anything sort of played at pace towards our defensive structure, we really struggle with that and how we cope with that.
So you say he's gone back to a back 3?
So he's gone back to a back 3, yeah, over the previous couple of games. I only think that's because of squad rotation. I personally think he might go back to a back 4 on Saturday, just because it's comfortable. Gives us an extra attacking threat as well, getting an extra player up the top end of the pitch. Because we've got some really, really skillful players. You know, Callum O'Hare, Casey Palmer, 2 of the most attack-minded, ball-carrying, forward-thinking players in the Championship, and they'll cause problems for Wolves, no doubt about it. And then it's you trying to utilise Haji Wright's pace as well, and Ellis Sims' strength. You know, Ellis Sims, you'll know from Premier League with being in Everton's team, he is a goal threat. He's scoring goals now, which he you know, up until the last couple of weeks, he wasn't really finding the back of the net, but 2 hat-tricks in 2 games for him. So he's banging form. So is Haji Wright.
In the middle of a purple patch.
Yeah. So we've got players in form, which, you know, gives us a little tick in the box heading into Saturday. But we're under no illusions of the task ahead of us. It's going to be a tough game, whatever team Wolves put out. You know, it's a Premier League team. It's a Premier League squad at the end of the day. So, you know, we're going to have to be at our best to get away with a victory here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I'll talk a little bit more about like Wolves in a second. But like in terms of the players that obviously we got the ones that are out. Kuna is possibly might be available. We don't know. It kind of hinted at that he might be, which would be ahead of schedule if he is, but it might be a risk, to be honest, because
but you wouldn't expect him to start though. That's
probably
coming back from
not.
that.
I think Nathan Fraser, a young lad, he stayed. He would have gone out on loan, probably to a championship club. So he's got something about him, Nathan. But like looking at our squad outside of like obviously the injuries, and probably you took a look at Fulham and what we played. Is there anyone that sort of bothers you or you're worried about?
Not worried as in the sense of like they're going to cause us constant issues. The constant issues come really from Neto and Hwang. Yeah. They're the two key players for Wolves, and them not being available, makes me feel a bit happier about the situation. I mean, João Gomez is a very, very gifted player in the middle of the park. I do like the look of him. Al Nouri as well. He's a typical Premier League left back. He'll get up and down all day. So yeah, if he plays, we're gonna probably have an issue on the right hand side. Although he will be going up against Milan Van Ivak, who is probably the fastest player in the championship at right back. So that'll be a great contest, I reckon, between those two.
It will be interesting to see how Gary O'Neill lines up, whether he goes to a back four. We started with a back four against Fulham, and then we switched back to a back three when the injuries happened. We're normally a back three with Nelson Semedo on the right. Swap the new camp for the South Bank. Obviously,
who wouldn't do that?
Well, exactly. Aït-Nouri is arguably man of the match. He is super quick as well. He can run with the ball, and he's so skillful. He's like he doesn't even know what he's doing himself. He's
confuses himself. Yeah, does too much sometimes and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Well, if he don't know what he's doing, the opposition players ain't going to know what he's doing. He's been playing really well. It would be quite interesting because he could potentially be pushed forward into a forward position, and we could bring in Hugo Bueno or Matt Doherty behind him. Potentially, depending on if he goes for a 4-3-3 or he goes for a 4-2-3-1 thing. Mario Lemina, another key player. He's the heart of our team, really, the heartbeat of the team. João Gomez, like you say, he's like a pit bull. He wins tackles out of nowhere. He's a crack. He's like been called up to the Brazil side. It's which is incredible.
That's why I think that midfield is going to be so key. Like it's going to be 3 versus 3, basically in the middle of the park, and it's going to be a battle.
I think the midfield could be quite key, to be honest. You'd expect Wolves at home to have more of the ball, but like I'll keep saying to everyone about this is not a given for Wolves. Wolves are going in, favourites to win it. We're at home against Molineux. It's going to be a full house. It's on TV. Coventry can come to this game it's almost like a free hit, really. If you lose, you're expected to lose. So you can really go for it, and it's not going to be an easy game. I think you're going to give us a really tough game, and it's going to come down to moments. I think we'll probably would most likely have more of the ball. You'd hope at home, but it's whether we've struggled to break teams down, even with our 5 forwards. If teams sit against us, we've struggled to break teams down.
That's one thing I don't think we'll do. I don't think we'll sit and try and counter. Really? We'll try and play as much football as we can. We've never gone into a game. Maybe actually that's a lie. We've done it once in about 3 seasons against Leeds this year, and it worked by just sitting in and trying to break. But I don't think that's just not the Mark Robins way. We'll try. We'll go there to win. We're not going to go there and try and sit and just nick something.
Interestingly enough, that's the perfect scenario for Wolves. We love teams to come on to us because we've had that pace and to go forward, and that's when teams sit against us. We have struggled. Like we played Chelsea at Chelsea, beat them 4-2. We played Tottenham at Tottenham. Beat them. Was it 2-1 or 3-2? I can't remember now. 2-1 or something like that. But we beat them. We played Tottenham at home, beat them. We beat City on doing it that way in the space behind. Obviously, we had we've not been able to get Neto, Kuna, and Wang on the pitch at the same time because they've all been off, or Wang went off to the Asia Cup and all of that. But teams that open up against us, we exploit really, really well.
I'd rather that be the case. So I'd rather us go and make a fist of it and lose rather than sit in and try nick it. I'd rather us go and try and play some football and make it a good game, make it a good spectacle. Because at the end of the day, ask any Cov fan, being in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup is a dream, basically, because we haven't had good cup runs in the past few years. Our bread and butter is trying to get out of the Championship. With a brand new team this season, this is a transitional year for us. As I said, 12 to 14 new players this season alone. We all thought, make top half of the Championship would be a very, very good season. For us, still chasing the playoffs in the Championship, don't forget, we're close to them. And in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, that's dreamland for a team like us at the stage of where we are. So,
if I was to give you an option now of getting into the playoffs and getting to Wembley that way, or getting to an FA Cup final, which would you take?
What's the guarantee in the playoffs? Just being in the playoffs?
Well, you're gonna get to.
I don't think I can deal with another playoff.
A Wembley semi-final at Wembley, and playing whoever it is, Liverpool, Man United, Newcastle, Chelsea, whoever it is, Man City, or get into the playoff final. What would you pick?
I can't deal with another playoff the final defeat. Last year was honestly the worst day of my life. I've been through some shit in my life, but that was the worst day of my life, losing to
I understand what that's like, mate. We lost a 2-0 lead in a semi-final of FA Cup with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah,
I've never watched it back.
I'd probably, with how this season is and how the Championship is and how it's shaping up, I'd probably take the FA Cup final if I could, rather than the playoffs, because it's going to be the hardest playoffs the Championship's probably ever seen. So, and for us, it's a bonus being involved in that this year. I think next year is probably the one where we're going to eye up to, probably try and get automatic promotion next year, which is, a big ask, but I'm just being a realist. I think if we even entertain the playoffs this season, I think it's probably not the way to be. So
you're going for an FA Cup semi-final over the playoff final.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, to be honest, they say going up in the playoffs is the best way of going up, but for me, I'll take the automatic second place every
you want to go up. I mean, winning the title was great. We went up via the playoffs. It was a great day. Losing at the playoffs when you put a whole season into one day, and then, I mean, what was the score again now? I can't remember.
Against Luton,
wasn't it?
Lost on penalties.
Lost on flipping penalty. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
And we actually missed the penalty for them to go up. It's not like we miss and then they score to go. Like, I can understand that, but us actually missing and giving the opportunity for them to automatically just get through it, it's just like a killer. I haven't watched it back.
No, I know exactly how you feel. The semi-final from 5 years ago, we feel like we've got unfinished business on to do with that. I mean,
actually makes me feel sick thinking about it. Like I always say to the guys, like, it was a brilliant day. I remember the day so vividly, and where I was sitting, and there was a group of kids behind me, and they were so excited. It was a brilliant, brilliant day, and the atmosphere was fantastic, and they were having a great time. But I can still hear the sound of those kids crying after the full-time whistle. And it's like, it's so weird. Like, when I think back to that day, that's all I can hear. Because I just remember leaving the ground and I never said a word for like 4 or 5 days to anybody. My girlfriend was wondering what was up and all this sort of stuff. It's mad how emotionally invested you get into it, right? And it's very, very tough day. I don't think Saturday will have that same effect if we lose.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I mean, it's not, you're at Wembley, you've got a penalty shootout to get back to the Premier League for the first time in 20, 30 years, is it, or something like that?
2001, was when we got relegated.
23 years, and you get so close, and then you've got to start another season again from scratch.
It's tough to get back on that horse for sure, and we struggled at the start of this year, but we've we've found some kind of formula. The team has really bonded. There's connections now. You can see that on and off the pitch, and yeah, we're bearing the fruits
Well,
at
looking
the
at the
moment.
league table, you're literally only 1 point outside the playoffs.
Yeah, we're pushing. We were in the playoffs 2 weeks ago, and we had two really, really bad defeats to Preston and West Brom, and that's sort of taken us out of the picture a little bit. But yeah, only 3 defeats in total since the start of December in all competitions, which is brilliant form, really, considering where we were before December.
And the players they're going to be well up for it. The fans, the Coventry fans, are going to be well up for it, and obviously the Wolves fans are too. It's going to be. I reckon it's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. It's a funny old time, 12:15 kickoff in the morning, but well, just in the afternoon. So, like, just to finish off on, we've got to ask you, what's your score prediction for the game?
I'm quietly confident, Dave. To be honest, I just think we can cause. I know Wolves will cause us issues, and we'll be up against it. But I just think we can cause 1 or 2 issues that maybe you don't get in the Premier League that often. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory, a hard-fought 1-0 victory. But I think it'll be a very, very attack-minded game, a very open game. It wouldn't surprise me if there's way more goals in it, but I'm just sort of bordering on that 1-0 victory for the Sky Blues.
And how do you think you're going to cope with VAR, mate?
We actually coped with it in the playoff final as well.
Yeah,
it actually went in our favour. Luton scored in the 119th minute, but the guy handballed it, and none of us saw it. But obviously it went
you
to
thought,
VAR.
oh my god, that was it. Then
Yeah, that was
VAR
even before the penalties. So yeah, that was obviously went in our favour. So yeah, interesting to see. I'm not a fan personally of VAR. I watch a lot of Premier League football.
We've suffered a lot with it this year. We've lost.
Wow,
7
it's been a joke, hasn't it? Some of the stuff. I mean, the two Man United games stick out like a sore thumb with the goalkeeper situation. I mean, that first game of the season was travesty.
I know, took him out. It was like an
Basically a
NFL
clothesline, wasn't it?
Oh, mate, it was. But fair enough. I mean, 1-0. I mean, I do think it's going to be Coventry are going to give us a thing. I don't think Wolves will go in. Any of the players are going to go into it underestimating Coventry. I don't think Gary O'Neill, who's done a fantastic job for Wolves, is going to let that happen.
I'm really happy for Gary O'Neill actually, because the way he was treated at Bournemouth, I thought was a disgrace, really. So it was great to see. I was underwhelmed by his appointment. I thought maybe with the way Wolves were at the time.
A lot of the Wolves fans are underwhelmed by his
I think for both ways as well. I'm not sure whether it was going to be the right fit for him with the issues with financial fair play and all that sort of stuff involved with Wolves during the summer. But it's worked out, tremendously well. And yeah, kudos to Gary O'Neill. He's becoming one of the top young managers in the British game. So yeah, excited to see how his career progresses. But hopefully, it's not a good one on Saturday for him.
Yeah, his stock has risen very, very high. He'll probably get he's looking like he's going to get a new contract at Wolves. He's done a great job. He's got us into the top half of the Premier League when lots had us down for relegation, and we're in the quarterfinals of the Cup.
Chasing Europe as well.
Chasing Europe on 2 fronts. So you never know, mate. But how can people find Sky Blues Extra?
Yeah, so we have a weekly podcast. If you want to hear us rambling about Coventry City, you can find us on all good podcast platforms. But best place to get us is on Twitter or X or Instagram. Just search at Sky Blues Extra. We'll have a lot of look backs between the games between Wolves over the years this week. Some interesting stuff coming up on there. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out. It was crazy looking back through the archive. Both teams being in League One just 10 years ago, playing each other. 2 1-1 draws in that league that season. So lots of interest in it. And it's a Midlands derby, isn't it? So anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Oh, mate, listen, I know you're going to Singapore, and I really, really hope that you find you get through customs quick enough, and you manage to find you'll probably go to a bar before you even check into your hotel.
Yeah,
probably.
I'm just going to go straight there. There's no point going to the hotel. Yeah, just take my case with me
to the bar somewhere and watch. I'll be thinking of you. You're probably gutted you can't be there.
Just a little bit, yeah. But also, if there's any sort of Wolves fans in Singapore, let me know. let me know where you're all going to be. It'd be obviously great to, spend the game.
We do have people that watch from all over the world. So if you are from Singapore, in the comment section below this video, make sure you leave a comment or get in touch with ourselves and on Always Wolves, and I can put you in touch with Dean, because obviously I'll have Dean's permission to pass on your WhatsApp, because you can get in touch and maybe you can watch the game together, or if there's any Coventry fans that are over there as well.
I've been searching high and wide, but at the moment to no fruition. So Wolves fans are the last saving grace, shall we say, to watch the game with some like-minded fans on who support those teams.
That'd be absolutely brilliant. Mate, thank you ever so much for coming on tonight.
Mate.
It's been absolutely brilliant having you on. Top bloke. Leave the love for Dean. Check out Sky Blues Extra. And let's see how it pans out at the weekend. Whatever happens with the FA Cup, mate, I really do wish Coventry City all the best for the rest of the season. And even if you don't make it through, and I'm hoping you don't make it through at the weekend against us to Wembley, I hope you do make it there in the playoffs and you're successful this year, because you suffered last year. You deserve, after suffering, to get to the playoff final and get back to the Premier League. Because, mate, I know what it's like. Us Wolves fans know what it's like to suffer. And when you get that little, if you ever get when you will get back to the Premier League, you'll be like loving it, mate, because you'll enjoy every single moment of being back up there, because it's a pain. You get beat and stuff.
It's the promised land, but there's it's not just obviously playing against all the top teams. There's the financial stuff that comes into it, and just being a bigger name in world football by being in the Premier League. So it's, there's lots of things that come with it. So hopefully, if it's not this year, it'll be next year, and fingers crossed.
Fantastic. All the best, mate. Thanks ever so much.
Thanks, Dave. Cheers.